Hey you guys, what is up? So today I am taking you with me on a DIY journey. I don't know if you would call this a revamp, an upcycle, a DIY. All I know is I am taking the Ikea IVAR cabinet and the Ikea IVAR rattan doors, and I am creating a beautiful, wonderful, mid-century modern inspired cabinet. Now mine is a sewing cabinet, so ever since basically Christmas I have had just stuff lying around my room. It is going to store all of my sort of artsy supplies, paints, as well as all of my sewing equipment and supplies, so threads, extra fabric, things like that. That's all going to go in this cabinet and sort of hide the clutter. Now I tried to marry my two, I feel like, most prominent styles, mid-century modern and sort of a bohemian rattan vintage look. So I tried to marry those two. I think it worked out really well. I had these amazing doorknobs. Or cabinet knobs, I should say. They are this mid-century modern vintage missile-shaped genuine brass doorknobs, and they are so stunning. I got 6 of them for $8 from an antique store, and I got some legs off of Amazon. I will link those in the description below, and I will also link the Ikea IVAR system. And today we are going to be sort of making it my own and making it look, in my opinion, absolutely stunning. So let's get on into the video and I will show you guys how I upcycled my Ikea IVAR cabinet system. So the first thing you see me doing here is just going over the rattan with some sandpaper. I used a pretty fine grit sandpaper because I didn't want to risk damaging the rattan for the door panels. You see me pick sort of a walnut type shade. I actually end up going with the darkest swatch you see on my pine piece right here. Now this walnut stain looked beautiful when I first put it down on the rattan. As you can see here, it looks absolutely stunning, but every time I would go to wipe the stain off, it just wasn't taking to the wood. So I had to go with a darker stain to even get any difference in the wood color, basically. So that was kind of a bummer, but it turned out really nice, I think. Next, you see me going in with this sort of peachy cream color paint on the inside of the cabinet. Now, I chose a light color for the cabinet. This was just a paint I had lying around. You could use white, you could use any oatmeal cream bright color, or any color really. I chose this light color just so that the cabinet wasn't so dark on the inside. I feel like if I painted it green on the inside, things would get lost inside of it and I just wouldn't be able to really see everything and have it be nice and fresh and organized all the time. So I went with a lighter color on the inside and actually ended up really loving this color. I didn't want to paint it on the outside just because I had already planned for this to be green. It matches my bed set. So in the future, this could, be a bedroom piece, but for right now, it's just sort of a sewing cabinet. But I did end up really loving this color and I'll probably use this in future projects as well. But as you can see here, the cabinet is fully built. I am just going over it with some paint, aside from the shelves, which you can see me kind of start to paint here. And again, I paint these all the way around. I was only actually able to put one of these shelves in my cabinets just because of the dimensions of my sewing machine that was going in here, but it does come with 2 shelves, so I painted both of them just in case I ever repurpose the cabinet. Like I said, I can always put a second shelf in later if the cabinet's purpose ever changes, so I like the option of having that second shelf in there, even if it's not possible at the moment. Now these legs came from Amazon, but they did not come pre-drilled, which was quite annoying. From the pamphlet that came with it, it sounds like they were supposed to be pre-drilled and pre-assembled, but I wasn't entirely sure why they were not. However, it wasn't that hard. I have a drill, so I wasn't too upset by it. And here you see me taking my screwdriver and some black screws and just screwing the plate to the leg so that I can install it to the cabinet. Next, because this cabinet is not intended to have legs, I wanted to go with a thicker leg that's sort of more of a stable choice for it. And of course I drilled in there some starter holes with my drill, and then I am just screwing my screws into the cabinet. All 4 screws go into the plates to attach them, and I'm making sure that the angles are a little bit outward so it gives it that mid-century modern feel. Also, with the length of the legs being where they are, it gives me some options to store things underneath the cabinet, which again is so important for me, not only to add height to the piece, but to actually make it useful storage area. And then I took some wood fill to the screws that connect the cabinet pieces all together. And while that's drying, I'm going ahead and painting the top of the cabinet, this wonderful emerald green paint. It's by BEIRUT. It is so incredibly gorgeous. I love this color. It matches my bed. It honestly is just such a stunning color. This first initial coat does come out really like sort of emerald green, sort of Christmas time sort of color, but the end result, those second and third coats of paint are so important and end up making this piece just so expensive looking. So you're seeing this clip first. Obviously, the front of the doors are painted in this clip, and they have the first coat, so it's not not too painted, but it is painted, and now you'll see me cutting it, and in the next clip you're going to see me painting it for the first time. That is because I did trim off excess. I did trim off the initial lip of the cabinet doors, but it turned out that I needed to actually cut about an inch off of the doors fronts to actually fit onto the cabinet, and I only realized that after I actually put the doors on the actual unit. So I was incredibly frustrated with this and actually almost had a point where I threw the doors away because I was just so frustrated. I had already basically finished the doors and got them on the unit, and then suddenly they weren't closing, and I had already measured it twice and it just didn't work out. So I was really upset, but I pulled through the next day and cut the doors again, and that's the clip that you saw. And here is me giving them that initial coat of paint. As you can see, they are naked in this clip, and they are not naked when I am cutting them. So pro tip, if you buy the IVAR cabinet and the IVAR rattan doors, about an inch needs to be taken off of each door off the front. You can't remove the back of it, so you can't like evenly place out those inches across the entire door because that's where the hinge connects. So you really do have to cut them off the front. So if you are adding handles, just account for that as well. here are just some quick clips of me sort of organizing some of my bins and labeling them, because it is honestly one of my favorite pieces of this cabinet, is actually just getting to organize it and play with it and make it look pretty on the inside. Please ignore my god-awful manicure. I didn't want to paint my nails because there was so much painting in this project, so my manicure would get ruined. So you just have to look at that right now. But here is me sort of doing a mock-up of how I want the inside of the cabinet to look. These handles are so beautiful. They are genuine brass. They are vintage, mid-century modern missile poles. They are absolutely stunning. I have never seen anything like them. They actually were super grimy, and I didn't realize that the brass plating was intact until I started sanding it. And oh my gosh, they turned out literally so stunning. So I sealed them with a varnish after sanding, just so they don't tarnish again super quickly, and I will have to revarnish them over time, but that's just to be expected with metal. And here I am drilling into my doors. Like I said, all of this took place before I actually cut them a second time, so I am really thankful that I drilled my holes closer to the actual base of the cabinet. This saved me from having to patch wood or replace a section of wood here. I could have replaced it. In fact, I may eventually do that, because as you can kind of see, my holes are a little crooked on the one door. On the other one, they're perfectly fine, but on the front-facing one, you can kind of see the holes are a little crooked. I'm just going over those screws with some of the paint just so they don't stick out a ton, and doing sort of a final coat on the back of the door here before it goes on the unit. And here we go, putting in the sort of finishing touches on the cabinet, which are these beautiful rattan panes that came with the doors from Ikea. And I'm just using a screwdriver to kind of help me with these little pegs here. And you can see me watching Eleanor as I finish the cabinet. And here we go, you guys. This is a absolutely stunning DIY. This is something that I am honestly so incredibly proud of. It came out so well. I am actually shocked at how nice it looks, besides those slightly crooked handles. I know. But this is going to have me so much more organized and so much more just sane, especially during the rest of this quarantine. I am so excited to see where this cabinet takes me in life and how far I can actually sort of transition this room to room. But for right now, this is absolutely perfect. It fits perfectly in this little corner right next to my desk, which is where I do my sewing. So I am so incredibly proud of this, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, please consider giving me a nice little subscribe. I would love to have you here on my channel. We do fun things like DIYs and talk about fashion, clothing. We do hauls, we talk about food. We do everything here. So if you like, go ahead and give me a subscribe. I hope you are having a great day, and stay well until next time. Bye!